Family can mean a lot of things. I guess as a queer person, we're more in tune to selected families and chosen families. So, like I do have a large community of people that I look at as family, even though we may not be blood related. But I do have a great connection with my family, the few people that I do keep in contact with. And thankfully, we're in a time of social media where everybody know your business anyway. So it's like a lot of the times people feel like they don't really necessarily have to call you or see you at the cookout because they're tracking you on Facebook or they're tracking you on Instagram. Right. So for me, I just feel like family is love, and I just accept love wherever it comes and however it comes.
Yeah. Welcome to Identified, where we explore, challenge, and redefine the traditional concepts of family and identity. In this episode, I'm joined by rapper Cakes Da Killa.
I knew my father. I met him a couple times when I was growing up, but like I said earlier, my mother had me when she was 14. He was about 17, so it was 90s, teenage pregnancy, that kind of situation.
Where is it? Is it in New Jersey?
And they met in Jersey City in the projects. That's where my mother grew up. And a couple months after I was born, my grandmother, my mom and her two siblings with me moved to the suburbs. We moved to Teaneck, so I grew up in the suburbs. So that kind of caused a disconnect between my mom and my father. But she kind of always knew this was my child. This is going to be my responsibility, and I'm going to raise this person.
So he wasn't around when you were growing up.
He wasn't around. I met him and I had some type of rapport with him, but it wasn't like he was in the picture like that. Yeah.
You got along well with your mother, and you grew up with your mother and your grandmother?
Yeah, I grew up with my mom and my grandmother. Me and my mom are very, very close. Yeah. And I think that's due to our personalities being very similar, and also the fact that we're basically the same age, so we kind of grew up together.
That's wild.
We grew up together in a way, but that I would never describe my mom as the cool mom, because even though she's a cool person, I always respected her as a mom. So we were really close. We have that kind of bond, but it's that's still a boundary. That's my mom, So yeah.
That age thing is crazy. Have you read by any chance it's the Billie Holiday biography, autobiography? It's really great and very similar. I think
her mom ran a brothel, no? Didn't she?
Yeah, okay. She lived there for a while, but I believe her mom was 14 when she was born, and she talks a lot in it about how once she was getting close to being an adult, they would go out together and people would think they were sisters and they were best friends.
No, same with my mom. Yeah.
You said that you sort of started to get to know your father later in life, or where's that?
I mean, because he was kind of due to his own, struggles in life, kind of in and out of prison or whatever. So that kind of put a damper on our relationship. And it's also the way life kind of works. I realize is if you have space and, time happens, once I became an adult, I think it kind of was like an afterthought. But he would reach out here and there, and we would talk, and I have a relationship with his brother. So that's how a lot of the times, like you said, meeting the other family, that was really important to me. Obviously, I love my dad. I love having a relationship with him. But meeting other siblings and other relatives is what basically helped me put the picture together. Because when you're growing up with just one parent, you may know your personality, but it's when you get the full picture, when you're oh, that's why I'm obnoxious. Or, that's why I drink too much. Because, you get the full picture of your identity. So,
right.
But yeah, I'm happy we're in a good place now, though.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Talk more about that, about meeting cousins or aunts or uncles and recognizing qualities. I think that I had the exact same thing. I know what you mean.
Well, my immediate family, like I said, I grew up with my mom, my grandmother, and my aunt and my uncle. And then a couple years later, my little brother came into the picture. So even though I come from a very large family that's all kind of all over the place, that's kind of my immediate family, because we moved away when I was born. Right. Obviously, being Black, we always come together for family reunions or funerals. That's the main time, especially when people are so scattered. Which, I was talking to my mom recently about it, and she's I'm kind of over seeing cousins that I grew up with at funerals, because it's kind of very weird, which I get. But for me, that's kind of how I would see my father's side of the family a lot. If a cousin who I didn't know passed away, it was my uncle made sure that I was there. Or if it was a birthday party, he always included me. But he was kind of the anchor for me and for my father's side of the family. And I ran into him a couple years ago at an Erykah Badu concert. he told me he was how he was basically exhausted doing that, because he was that person for the family.
Not just for you, but
not
for
just
others.
For me.
Wow.
But as a child, growing up, I didn't realize that. I was just always like, okay, you know, Irvin got me, like, that's going to be my connection. And I wasn't even thinking, like, Irvin has his own kids in his own life.
Oh.
Now that I'm an adult, because this happened, like, you know, in my early 30s, now I'm like, okay, like, I'm now an adult. Now it's my responsibility. So now I'm, you know, being more active as I can.
Growing up, the single mother and your grandmother, did you feel like you had a normal childhood, or was it abnormal? Were there lots of other kids with single parents?
I mean, I think there were a lot of kids with single parents, but like in the block I lived on, there were a lot of married like couples, like Black people.
Right.
So it wasn't like not that reality. And also growing up, I never felt like I was receiving less because I only had one parent. Because my mother made sure that like anything I wanted was given to me. Like I've always had the best of everything, even my little brother who's like the most spoiled. You know what I'm trying to say? So that was never my reality of feeling like, you know, even when we moved out of my grandmother's house and she got her own apartment, which she did that when I was very young too. I never really felt like, oh, I'm struggling or like I don't have that. It wasn't until, you know, now being an adult when she would tell me stories about how sometimes when you have to go to work, she couldn't get a babysitter, so she would have to leave me. Oh. And I'm like, when she told me that kind of broke my heart. But it was also like, and the reason why I'm sharing it, because it's just, we don't really think about the real realities that a lot of women have to deal with, especially when they're trying to just make ends meet and just
trying
survive.
to get by.
You know, like that's such a dramatic thing. But I'm like, in other countries, you know, there's programs, there's all this other things, there's assistance, there's aids, and it's like when you're facing the reality, like you have to do what you have to do. So.
Yeah. Do you remember that, or were you so young that you don't even remember it?
No, that would be traumatic.
Right. Well, that's good, maybe.
No, yeah. But no, I really didn't have any complaints growing up. Like, you know, she did above and beyond to make sure like everything was situated.
Yeah, and it sounds like your uncle, right, was your father figure or a role model, or
not a father figure. I would think he was more of like, if I needed like a masculine role model, I guess he would be it. But to me, I was raised around a lot of strong women, and like even in my family, like I have a lot of strong aunts, and you know, the men more in my life, I wasn't really looking for any type of direction or any. It's like, what can a man offer besides like what masculinity is? And I'm like, what really is that anyway? Like, you know, so yeah.
What is your relationship with your father like now? Do you see each other in person? Do you email? Text?
We're not emailing. He was in and out of jail. He doesn't know how to do all that.
Right.
You know, he's more like an in-person person. So he just turned 50. So I went to his birthday party.
So young.
Yeah. So that was good to see him for his birthday, and my siblings were there as well, and the whole family. And now we're just mainly communicating a lot, like over the phone. He's not a texter. I'm like trying to teach him how to be a texter. He's like, I need full attention, but. It's great because when I was growing up, my mother never bashed him in a sense. Like she was very transparent about why they couldn't be together, you know, his full personality, things about his past that he probably doesn't even know that I know. So growing up, I always knew more than probably he assumed that I did know. So that's why I didn't really harbor any like hate or feel like, oh, you weren't there, because I was aware of the reality of the situation.
Yeah,
so.
I find that fascinating because it's different, but my situation too, and I've talked about it so much with the book and everything. A lot of people, when I've done book events or interviews and things, I think a lot of people who come from a single parent family have said to me like, you know, man, I really feel for you. That must have been so hard or something. And my thing is often like, what are you talking about?
Right.
I had an incredible childhood. In fact, that's what the book is about. I don't know where you got the idea that I didn't. I always knew that my father wasn't supposed to be in the picture. He was never talked about in a bad way. In fact, if my mother ever talked about him, which wasn't often, she and my uncle would say, yeah, that's the guy who gave us you. He's like a wonderful, talented guy.
That's what my mother.
Too bad he can't be around. But not even that so much. So it was really... He was always painted in this positive light. And I think that's a really rare thing. It's interesting to hear you say that and have that obviously be something that affected you.
It is really rare. And like, even thinking about it, like I said, my mother had me at, 14. So this is basically a teenager, like telling me these stories. Yeah, I mean, like, so my mother is like growing 15, 16, 17, raising a child and, not being angry about her situation. She just like, this is my reality. This is my responsibility. And, she did it. And that's why I always like look at my mom and I'm so like, I love her so much because it's like, she could have got an abortion. It was a little long in the time. It was a little long. They said the fetus was too big, so I was meant to be here. But that didn't happen, and she still handled her responsibility. It could have went so many different ways. So that's why I'm like forever indebted to my mother, even more than just son and a mother bond, because it's like you really did what you had to do. But
she must be very proud.
I mean, I don't know. Functioning alcoholic, I don't know. Like, is she? I don't know. I make music. I'm not. No, she's proud. She's proud. I pay my bills. So yeah.
Right. Do you know much about your ancestry on either parent's side? Can you go back generations?
No. The thing about my family is a lot of it is so fragmented because, like, different type of things, whether it's, people being raised in homes that are not two-parent homes, or just a lot of parental drama that a lot of times, like, my grandmother wasn't really raised by her mom. And then, like, my mom had me young, so she had to go out and fend for herself. So as far as like history and like oral traditions, I don't really know about a lot about that. But growing up, getting together, when we did get together as a family, that's when I would see more like characteristics and mannerisms, which to me are more important. So it's not like, anything traditional, but it's more like just getting a sense of like my identity through that.
Yeah. Are there other, of the sort of cousins and uncles and everybody, is there one that you feel like that's the person I'm the most like? Is there that kind of connection, or is it just a smattering from people?
It depends. I think because I was raised with my mom's side of the family so much, a lot of those things I'm not thinking about. It's really like second nature, like our similarities. But because I didn't spend so much time with my father's family, when I do have those moments, that's when it's kind of like an aha moment. Like growing up, like seeing his sister and interacting with her, a lot of her like taste, like aesthetic taste, I see myself doing now as an adult. And I'm like, oh, that's where it comes from. And just building my relationship with my father, talking to him more often, I see a lot of my traits that I didn't know where they came from in him. So
it's wild, right?
It's pretty jarring at times.
Yeah.
But it also tells me, I'm like, okay, like I'm getting it now.
Because you see things you don't like too, right? You see the good and you see the bad.
Yeah, and we talked about this the other day, because I'm like, yeah, because every time I get crazy, it's like I feel like I'm becoming you, little you. And he's like, well, damn, why always got to be the bad stuff? And I'm like, I'm sure there's good stuff too. We'll get to that too. But it's just like, like. But yeah, that's why I just, I'm happy we're in a place where we could like really communicate.
Yeah, and you've got so much time. I mean, he's just turned 50.
I mean, that's also the other thing. It's like you never really know when it comes to time. And
right.
That's why it's always that pressure of like,
now is a good time.
Now is a good time.
Yeah. Do you have goals or aims with your relationship with your father, or is it just to keep it going?
See, that's the thing, because he also is dealing with, like, he has like two other kids. He has three other kids.
Are they all from the same person?
Yeah, those kids are all from the same mom. I'm the only one.
Okay, so that's like, and is he still with that person? Is that like
no?
Okay,
so he's basically, it's like overhaul. Like he's just trying to get it situated with everybody.
Yeah.
And I always have to tell him, I'm like, you just take your time. You're gonna get over this hump, because I guess it is hard when you're trying to connect with your children and your children are adults.
Yeah.
And obviously we're all in different places in our lives and we all require different things. So I feel like talking to him now that we're in this place of just trying to, come together, he can get overwhelmed. And I'm always just trying to just tell him, like, you just have to just stick with it and go through it, because it's not going to be like a light switch, you know? And I think sometimes he expects it to be like that. And I'm just like, it's going to be work.
Yeah.
So, But yeah, we're good. Me and my siblings are good. It's just life for everybody is kind of a lot.
Has there been much loss or trauma in your family?
Yeah, there's been a lot of loss and trauma. I mean, that's just existing. As far as like family dynamics and like a lot of internal things, I think the most traumatic experience is anytime we lose property in our family. I think like as Black people, property is very important because we don't really have a lot of it in America. So it's like, damn, when you lose Big Mama house, it's like, that's a big thing. And it just happened recently with my family. And it kind of just shows how sometimes generational wealth can't really be maintained if people are in such dire needs in their current time, where it's like, just sell the house and split it up. And like, I need to get this car, I need to get this. So to see that happen, time and time again, it really upsets me, because it just shows that a lot of the tools that we need to maintain, to have oral traditions and have all that, we don't even have it anymore, So yeah, I think that's the most current traumatic thing.
I mean, it's intense, and it's a totally reasonable and great way to look at it. It's, Ugh. What is family to you?
Family could mean a lot of things. I guess as a queer person, we're more in tune to selected families and chosen families. So, like I do have a large community of people that I look at as family, even though we may not be blood related. But I do have a great connection with my family, the few people that I do keep in contact with. And thankfully, we're in a time of social media where everybody know your business anyway. So it's like a lot of the times people feel like they don't really necessarily have to call you or see you at the cookout because they're tracking you on Facebook or they're tracking you on Instagram. Right. So for me, I just feel like family is love, and I just accept love wherever it comes and however it comes.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Please consider subscribing to Identified wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss an episode. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all other major streaming platforms. And be sure to explore identifiedpod.com, the place to gain a better understanding of family. Our executive producer is Kiran Banerjee, and the show is produced by Palm Tree Island. The music for Identified is by Noella and Patricia Brennan. I'm Nabil Ayers. Thanks for tuning in.